Physique, the free energy special interest group where science meets spirituality in the quest for truth and knowledge to free humanity and transform this planet into a paradise.
Hi everyone. Hi, this is Crystal. How's everyone? And thank you so much for choosing to spend time to join us here at Physics Meeting. It is so wonderful to have all the regulars back, and it is even more exciting to have our Illumine speakers. Carrie Cassidy, returning speaker, and then we have new speakers, Jean-Charles Moyen, and then we have our returning speakers, well, Patty El Brassard with us today, filling in the spot where Sebastian Martin has left because he has something urgent to attend to. His daughter had an accident and he had to rush to look into the matter. So welcome everyone once again. Welcome to Physics 142nd meeting. I'm sharing screen now so you can see the agenda. Okay. And then you see for yourself how this meeting is designed. It's a little different from the usual ones because this one, it's a very special forum, right? So we have, hang on a minute, let me just to enter, oops. I don't know how that come into. Okay, so we have Physic is a free energy special interest group, and we hold meetings once a month, the first Wednesday of the month, every month without fail, and usually at the same time, 6:30 p.m. UK London time. I usually put in the website, go to our website to see all the details through visionbiz.com // physics.html. This is a platform where science meets spirituality. So today we are having it at 6:30 p.m. and I will tell you that the next meeting in December and January will be a different timing because I will be in Southeast Asia and it's impossible to chair a meeting at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. So I had to bring it forward to like 2:30 p.m. GMT, so a few hours earlier. Okay, for just these 2 months, December and January. And February, we'll be back in the same old time, the normal time. I have with me the physics team, as always. We never failed you. We are always here, all of us here. Fras is here to help me co-chair. So the Free Energy Special Interest Group is a platform where science meets spirituality, and you can freeze frame and read it, okay? Because we don't have much time. We have very important discussion today. So our 142nd physics meeting agenda is we have 3 speakers. Speaker 1, Carrie Cassidy, who's the founder and CEO of Project Camelot, returns to reveal explosive claims that 3I Atlas may be a hyperdimensional craft connected to the return of the Anunnaki, interacting with Space Force and the secret space program, and how the SSP, AI factions, and dimensional portals tie into the unfolding event. Carrie's urgent message on how humanity can prepare and protect itself is here today for you folks. So speaker number 2, we have Jean-Charles Moyen, a French-Canadian award-winning indie producer, ET contactee with the Secret Space Program's Truth Conference speaker. He will discuss an aborted teleportation experience involving 3I Atlas, where he encountered Draco reptilian energies. He will explain and explore what may be happening on the craft with our panel speakers. He just launched his latest movie, Starseed Revelations 3, on, of course, there's part 1, part 2 earlier. This one, the third one, is on the 23rd of October, about his real life experiences going through ancient space arcs, portals, straddling the multidimensional worlds, past, present, future. So this is in itself disclosure, And speaker 3, of course, Sebastian Martin couldn't make it, but we have Patty Brassard. In a moment, I'll talk about Patty, but Sebastian Martin is Canadian entrepreneur, top remote viewer. I mean, all the speakers' websites are linked up to their names whenever they have been announced at Physics website, okay? So if you hover your mouse over the names, click on it, you get to their website. Or whenever I say click on the link, you see it, okay? Live links. So Sebastian Martin was actually, he caused a sensation on social media when he was interviewed by Gaia TV. He had encounters and regular communications with 11-dimensional beings, and he will expose what he uncovered. I mean, he would have been here to expose what he uncovered during his remote viewing, a massive mothership packed with millions of dormant Draco soldiers, he said. Well, almost 5 million in stasis. Oh my God. Sebastian Martin will would have shared the chilling description and testimony from a European organization for nuclear research, that is CERN insider, who claims portals have already been opened to contact non-human intelligences. This is so interesting. Now, Patty Brassard is stepping in place of Sebastian, because Sebastian had to rush to the hospital. His daughter had a little accident, and Patty L. Brassard is a returning speaker here at Physics, actually. He is our planetary guardian. And she's a planetary guardian, and she's the one who brought in the gardeners group that Jean Decote was talking about. And Jean Decote at one time was working hand in hand with Patty to bring disclosure information to humanity. Patty Brassard is very special because he's a Mi'kmaq elder, and there are very few here on the planet. He's the holder. She's the holder of the Ring of Midas. You know, if I say the Ring of Midas, doesn't that bring to mind the ring of the Lord of the Rings? So there you go. We have very special luminaries here at Physics. So once we have finished with these 2 sessions, this will be made into 2 sessions, session 1, session 2. And once we finish with the Q&A and all that after the second session, we then adjourn this meeting to our 143rd meeting on the 3rd of December. And that will be starting at 2:30 p.m. GMT. Sorry, not 1:30, but 2:30 p.m. GMT, a few hours earlier, okay? Or 7:30 p.m. Central Eastern Time, Europe, or 1:30 EDT and 10:30 a.m. PDT. I'll show you the what you call yes, the time zone chart here. Okay, so the announcement here is Physics 143rd meeting on the 3rd of December 2025, and 144th meeting on the 7th of January 2026 will be hosted physically in the Far East. So the meeting start time will change from 6:30 p.m. GMT to 2:30 GMT. I beg your pardon, it's 2:30, not 1:30, okay? As you see in the chart here. Oh, no, sorry, it's confusing, 1:30, not 2:30. So the theme of the 143rd meeting is about sentient AI. Whoever wants to jump in, please do so. You're all very warmly and lovingly welcome. Where Renee Swain will be having a conversation with the infamous Stacy McCourt. She has not confirmed yet, but all 3 of us or so at Physics trying to get her, and Fernando Bosa, because they are really using the sentient AI to help them with their work. James Gilliland wants to come back to speak about ESETI UFOs and UK exopolitics. David Griffin will be presenting in February, and a few other renowned speakers are in the pipeline. So watch out this space, folks. All right, so to contact me is crystal@truevisionofpeace.com. Go to our website, check on it. 1 or 2 weeks before the meeting, you can see at least one meeting, 1 week, oh, sorry, 1 week before the meeting, you can see the announcements, the new speakers, and the theme of the discussion. I'm afraid BitChute channel I can't access anymore, but UK Bennett, that's our best performing channel. Carrie has most of her videos there because YouTube have been nasty to us every time Carrie speaks. Such a shame. So anyway, thank you. Join us at our Telegram group so you can have a good interaction with all the members, and you can form study groups and workshops or whatever and interact with each other. Okay.
So bottom line here, and it's kind of convoluted what's going on. So there are crazy things going on. And I have to say that there are new images that have come forward. I am part of, as you may have heard, the Richard Hoagland sort of news group, and they are showing images that I don't think are getting out much around with the public. So I'm going to try to bring this up here and see if I can show you one of them. Okay.
Carrie, could you please hang on? Could you please stop screen share, because I finally able to open up my Microsoft Word. It's crazy. I felt like I've been sort of like stopped as well for doing things smoothly. Yeah. But anyway, I finally fought and got through. Okay, Carrie's brief bio here, folks, in case you are new to Carrie's work. Carrie Lynn Cassidy is the founder and CEO of Project Camelot, a pioneering media platform that has for over 20 years exposed whistleblower testimony on secret space programs. That's why she had also been shadow banned and things like that, and YouTube took off her channel and all that. And she has been the trailblazer, as I said, like the Olympic torch bearer. She's so brave, and we all love her. She's done so much work, paving the way through for all of us light warriors, light workers here who are on a divine mission on this planet, with all the testimonies and the whistleblowing and bravely bringing disclosure on the planet. She's so wonderful, and we love you, Carrie. So she's exposing ET contacts, deep state agendas, black projects. She's a filmmaker, author, speaker, and investigative journalist known for fearless interviews with insiders from intelligence, military, and secret space operations. Her work bridges geopolitics, exopolitics, and consciousness, emphasizing the spiritual awakening required to reclaim human sovereignty. And it's so important, folks. You must go to her channels, tune in to her podcasts and the Substacks and all that to catch the latest information. She's the most well-connected light warrior on the planet, with all the others all linked up in a huge, big, powerful network. Together we can make it, okay, to our ascension. Nothing's going to stop us. So over back to you now, Carrie. Thank you, sister.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So what I was saying is that I have a photograph here that I want to share, first of all. And I assume people have been following the photographs and the various videos. And there are many AI videos, by the way, about 3i Atlas. So be aware when you're listening to some of these people, because they do get their facts wrong sometimes. And whoever is running those various channels is using AI, and AI is not accurate in some cases. So just to be aware. So I'm going to bring this one image that came through, I think it was today, actually. But I don't know, time is so difficult lately. So if you can see this on the screen, you'll see that this is what happens is they're reporting that there's another object. So 3i Atlas is on the screen here, if on the right hand, the lower right hand side, right? But upper are apparently, this is how it's being described, two objects that are actually rotating or around each other. So something strange going on with that. And I have to say, when I first saw that picture, I felt nauseous. And that's one of the ways that I get, a download for saying something is not right, not good, not well with this particular configuration or whatever you want to say. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with these two objects, and I think this is the first time it's being shown. So just to be aware, and later on we can examine it a bit closer. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing that, and then I have many as I talk. I could bring up or towards the end maybe a lot of photos just to flip through them quickly because I want people to see photos that haven't been seeing photos. Now, to get back to the situation, you may know that there was a memo that came out that was leaked saying that supposedly another object called 3 Atlas or something like that, some similar name, a month or two before, and there was a blackout that memos. And for those of you who haven't seen the blackout memo, I guess I can't get a show of hands really, but it is very interesting because this is the kind of thing that is going on right now, and we're not getting any real data as far as I'm concerned. All right. Now, this is a picture of my Telegram. Can people see that? Hopefully you can see that. It has a photo at the top. It's saying it's an article called The Brewing MAGA Brawl Over NASA.
Yeah, we can
And
see.
what is happening behind the scenes that no one will tell you probably is that Trump and team, Space Force, etc., are trying to take control of the SSP. All right. And obviously, they're also trying to negotiate with them, work with them, that kind of thing. But apparently, according to this article at least, and it does have some very good points in there. For example, that Elon Musk, he was sort of siding with Trump and gave him a bunch of money. They have now separated. It's not been actually too publicized, I don't think, lately. But the bottom line is that Musk is really hand in hand with the CCP. So this is a problem, okay? It's a big problem coming in the future and beginning now, of course, which has to do with the wars that we're going through. So again, Camelot was told we were going to be going through, we already had World War I, we had World War II, and that World War III would be more or less what's happening exactly now, which is, the wars with Ukraine and Iran and the various countries that are at each other's throats, etc. But and including sort of a back channel war with over Taiwan, as you may know. But when you talk about Iran, by the way, never forget that China backs Iran, so that if you're having interactions or bombing Iran, you're actually technically that's a proxy for China. So this is the layout behind the scenes of the global wars going on, and that these wars were planned in advance. The war with China currently going on is planned in advance by both sides. And so what that and what that is, this is what we were told. You can take it or leave it. I think it's very good intel. And I have some substantiating evidence and other whistleblower testimony that does coincide with this. In fact, so much information that it's too much to go over all at once in one sitting. But if you're following the trail like I do, then you understand that this was a practice. So World War III is a practice session for what they've really been preparing with. And that includes the United States preparing soldiers to fight on other planets as they have always been doing, but not just that, the fact that we're going to have an incoming craft of some kind. And it does appear that 3I Atlas is possibly the first advance of this invasion type scenario, which is this war, this World War IV, if you want to call it. And so that's I'm just, please, I'm the messenger, so don't kind of go crazy over this, but I'm just trying to explain. Pete Peterson, one of our top whistleblowers, if you go to the front page of Project Camelot, projectcamelotportal.com, you'll see I reposted and actually combined all the interview. We did three, sort of a joint three interviews on the period of one day with Pete Peterson. One was with David Wilcock and Pete Peterson, one was me and Pete Peterson, and one was Bill Ryan this is like in 2010, with Pete Peterson. And he has since passed on, but he was talking about Skynet and Terminator, the fact that we were actually already in Skynet and those kinds of days where we were dealing with sort of a takeover scenario. And this takeover scenario is extensive and has been going on steadily. And it culminated with the stealing of the 2020 election, in case you don't know that. Biden was never inaugurated. He was executed. That was a fake. There were 5 actors playing Biden for those 4 years and so on. So, and he was being, it seemed, manipulated by both sides alternately. So sometimes he was manipulated by the white hats and sometimes with the CCP. So understanding that we are in a war right now that people don't realize, and that my take on Three Eye Atlas, I've done several shows. The first 4 or 5 shows, actually, I did sort of smaller that weren't, I mean, I guess we got noticed because my shows do get noticed, but this thing didn't blow up until sometime after. I had already talked to David Sereda, who is something of an aerospace expert. When he was a young man, during college, he was actually brought in on not so much the CCP, but definitely a high level of the aerospace complex, if you will. And he made videos having to do with the STS footage of UFOs interacting with the space station, and Dan Aykroyd and all of that, in case you can't place his name. So we did around 4, I think, with Jimmy Blanchett, who is also someone who's sort of a partner of his, that they work on radio. He works on radio. He's a radio expert, and he communicates to outer points in our solar system, theoretically through radio. That's what he believes he's doing, and he's a scientist. So my interviews with David Sereda started out with me having already had a download about Three Eye Atlas being Anunnaki. And when I get downloads, they just come anytime, and it's not like I can question it. What I do, however, is, unlike maybe some people that get downloads, I then look for evidence that the download is either true or false. So that's kind of, I think, differentiates me from your average person that might get downloads, because I do a lot of research, as you may know. So what happened was, then when I started the show with David, he started tracking what he had already figured out through mathematics was going to be the trajectory of Three Eye Atlas through our solar system, which he is still doing, and he has put out numerous pictures coming from where they can forward. I forget what it's called, something like Open Space or something. There's a software out there where you can actually figure out the trajectory, and he figured out all the math. And as he went through to share where it was going to be going near each planet, there was a symbolism and evidence that was coming forward that the Three Eye Atlas was actually communicating with every place it was going close to. It was sending messages that connected with our what is known to be our religious past, okay? And also having to do with Egypt, the Anunnaki, the symbolism surrounding that, etc. And if you want to be understanding what I'm talking about, then you could watch those videos, and they're available on my Rumble channel, they're also embedded in a Substack article that I wrote about this, and so on. So just to move on, what we're at now is this situation where people are not aware there is a war behind the scenes with this SSP and with NASA. And this shutdown, all indications are that it's really about shutting down NASA, so that NASA was not able to communicate with the public. Now, it may be that within, I used to work for JPL, Jet Propulsion Lab. So that's part of NASA. And first I worked for 20 years in the entertainment industry in movies and television. And then when jobs dried up over there because they had, I think it was a writer's strike, I had to branch out and I ended up with a contractor job over at JPL. And then I got involved, sort of, I guess, a long-term hire over there in terms of contracting. And I handled media and teaching the scientists on, how to present the rover, for example, JPL, their image, and so on and so forth. And so I spent a couple of years doing that. And so I'm pretty familiar in the inside workings of some of NASA through the JPL doorway. And this goes back to Sex and Rockets, the book, you may remember, and various other things, Aleister Crowley, because the NASA, you may know through Richard Hoagland, who I'm on this news group where he's divulging very little there, to be honest. But every once in a while he says something, and some of the other scientists on the group, it's a fairly large group, also say something, but they're not very vocal. So I don't know if they have a separate group that I'm not part of where they actually do talk to each other more. I posited that possibility. So I can't say for sure, but what I noticed and what even Richard Hoagland acknowledged is that most of these scientists are not willing to talk. It's unbelievable. And even Avi Loeb is playing both sides of the street constantly. So if you read his articles on Medium, where I assume people that are really interested in this are paying attention. And David Sereda also has his own column over at Medium, so you can get his articles over there. And I post everything to this Telegram channel that I have on the screen right here. Now, this article is very helpful in sort of bringing to the fore the fact that Trump and NASA and who's going to run NASA. There's sort of a war going on along those lines. And this would be sort of indicative of what I'm talking about. So this is the background that we're looking at 3I Atlas, this incoming craft, which is different points of view saying, at least it's covered with these structures that are, I believe that 3I Atlas and possibly some of its accompanying craft, which are like Lemon and Swan, that they think now are portals that are sort of coming along with it. And then see if I can get this other image on the screen. Anyway, this is Lemon, one of the accompanying. There is reason to believe, at least some of the scientists believe, that Lemon and what's called Swan are very large. I think they're even larger than 3I Atlas. And 3I Atlas is different measurements, but if you include the shielding around 3I Atlas, you're getting, I think something like, I don't know, 117 kilometers across or something crazy. And then you've got the envelope that's around it. So that's even larger. So just saying that these are the images that are coming through. And, I can't know whether you've seen them or you haven't seen them. So I hope that, I'm not boring people over here. But I have this other image that I want to try to find. It's an original image that was shown. Okay, here it is. So hold on one second. And it's important that you do see these images so we know what we're talking about, all right? because there's a lot of disinfo out there. And by the way, a lot of the videos out there, when they're talking about Three Eye Atlas, they're not showing Three Eye Atlas because there's most of the time they don't have the photographs, even the ones I'm showing you here. Now, this came out in, I guess, around the 1st of July. However, we know that there are craft accompanying Three Eye Atlas. So here's Three Eye Atlas. You see it's enveloped by what appears to be some kind of something. And when Hoagland and the group of scientists looked at it, they saw it had structure. So it's not gas. It's not just, some emissions, which nickel is one of the emissions that is coming out, strangely, of Three Eye Atlas, but that these craft are accompanying it, and they showed up. So my estimation was that there was 9 craft that appeared to be from our secret space program. One of them, when Three Eye Atlas went behind the sun, at least according to the report from the group I'm listening to and watching, was shot down. So there may be 8, and then someone else. I don't know if I can say his name, but an intelligence agent who I'm also being communicated with in a group situation said recently there are 12 objects accompanying it. So it's not by itself. Some are bigger, some are smaller. These are not considered to be streaks. These are considered to be craft, for what it's worth, okay? So, and I believe that, by the way, what I was trying to say is that Three Eye Atlas, with all that structure around it, is actually in a Dyson sphere. And I have a quote from Captain Mark Richards, who I interviewed 12 times on a period of 5 years. I've just released 2 books condensed of my interviews with him, highly recommended by me. And they're on Amazon. So I really hope that people will take a look. It's fascinating, jam-packed with information about the SSP program that he worked in for his whole young life until he was spotted to be, when they looked into his future, like through Yellow Cube, they saw he was going to rebel against the secret space program and the reptilian Draco Empire, a lot of which is controlling our secret space program. And that goes back to William Tompkins and his interviews, which are fascinating. And I interviewed him for about 3 hours with Michael Schratt. But at any rate, we're talking about this being, okay, I've just lost my train of thought. That's probably because they're interfering with me. But okay, so I'll just circle back. So what I'm saying here is that this craft is being surrounded by a Dyson sphere, and that Captain Mark Richards, who gave testimony and continues to do so, the reason he's in prison, he was imprisoned for actually some young guys that were following him as a kind of a teacher, went and killed this man who turned out to be a pedophile. And one of the murderers was, violated by a pedophile. So he had a sort of an added reason for being involved in that killing. All of this is told on not only in my books that condense his testimony, but also with some documentation on my website. So I know it seems like I'm going around in circles, but I'm not. It's very important to understand that we have testimony, we have evidence that makes a very long trail that surrounds why Three Eye Atlas might be here now. There's evidence that Three Eye Atlas, just so what I've seen, and I have done remote viewing and had, known that I was correct on my targets and stuff. So I also have that ability along with the downloads that I do get. So those are separate things, but they're related, of course. So that this craft is largely run by AI, that it has androids operating it. Now, there's a point of view that says, and this may be what Sebastian thinks, which is that it has in stasis a bunch of reptilian beings, but my understanding is that's not the case. But you can believe whichever you want, and that the important thing about the Anunnaki, if that doesn't make any sense to you and you don't know the history of the Anunnaki, to understand that they genetically re-engineered us at a certain point in our trajectory. They did not create us. Okay, that's very important. We humanoids from Lyra, that's what we are. We're, human hybrid humanoids. And the bottom line is that we are related to the Pleiadians and that type of humanoid being. So what happened to create the Anunnaki is that they were Pleiadian humanoids, and they left for whatever reason. They decided to leave the Pleiades and go to a planet called Nibiru, where they were like a rogue group. Then they were invaded by the reptilian Draco. And so their whole race became hybrids, humanoid, reptilian, Draco hybrids. So that's why if you go to Iraq and Iran and you go to Egypt, you see these large beings. They look humanoid sometimes, and sometimes they look more reptilian, which is the case with them. So some have a greater amount of reptilian DNA or whatever in them. So it's important to understand what kind of beings they are. And some call them, think of them as, what was that word that they use? I can't remember. It's a religious term. So anyway, just saying that when I say that I got that this is this isn't not a reptilian, straight up reptilian craft. This is the Anunnaki, but understanding that they are partially reptilian. So that's what's going on there. And it's important also because the symbolism, if you listen to my interviews with David, what comes across is that they are still in the point of view that they rule us, or they should be in charge of us, and that they want to project that to us. Okay, because they know they're being watched, that this not so little craft that's come into our solar system. And again, I'm thinking this is an advanced craft. Now, I have been in touch with the creator of the Wingmakers, James, and I asked him if he thought that this was the invasionary craft of androids that he had been predicting through the Wingmakers story. If you've never heard of it or followed it, it's in a series of books, really.
I did.
Called the Ancient Arrow Project. So it's important to understand that people that haven't followed these types of things, but I actually got the movie rights to make the Wingmakers movie when I was in Hollywood towards the end of the 20 years I was there. Apparently, I thought I had the rights in perpetuity, but they tell me I only had the rights for 1 year. So they gave the rights in this interim, because then I left the motion picture business. As I say, I went to JPL, I wrote screenplays and stayed in it, but had a very hard time getting past the glass ceiling. And so I actually made Camelot. That's when Camelot was created. And so I was sort of, my trajectory, which was to make movies, right? Sci-fi movies, that type of thing, was actually changed to being a documentary filmmaker, an investigative reporter. So I wouldn't be doing this today if I'd ever had some luck over in Hollywood. But it's fate would have it. And it's been, because in Camelot, we then interviewed all the whistleblowers, and I got a tremendous amount of knowledge, like a download, if you will, from all those witnesses. And they're all coming with stories that validated what I'm talking about. So there is no doubt in my mind about what I talk about. For what it's worth. And I have documentation and years of interviews where I spend 2 hours with the camera in front of their face. We don't even take breaks. And I cross-examine them in my style. Some people like my style, some people hate it, whatever. And now I can keep going. There's more to say about this.
I was going to say at times up now, Kerry, because we don't have much time for the first session. I've yet to
Okay.
introduce the other two speakers for this forum, but plans change a bit because without Sebastian Martin, thanks to Jean-Charles Moyen, who actually introduced Sebastian to me because he wanted Sebastian to join in the conversation with you, Kerry, on the Three-Eye Atlas matter. So today's session is actually heavy on Three-Eye Atlas, but thank you so much anyway for keeping all of us updated with the other issues as well, the other disclosure intel that
Okay,
is
and
on
I
the
interviewed
notice.
Sebastian Martin years ago. I did something like 3 interviews already with him in the past, just FYI.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So now I need to introduce Jean-Charles Moyen, and then there's Patty Brassard. So I need to introduce all of you, and then it's okay. We'll have a bit of time to talk, the two of you, Patty and Jean-Charles, and then we can do a discussion of a conversation, free and easy for the next session. I've changed the format a bit because without Sebastian, we can't really focus on Three-Eye Atlas, but at least we can get something going here. Now, I would
Can I
thank
just
you.
interject that
Sure.
I did talk on the phone with Sebastian a few weeks ago, and he was going to do an interview with me. However, he didn't get back to me. But in the conversation, he did say that he agreed with my take on Three-Eye Atlas for what it's worth from his point of view. That's it.
Absolutely, Carrie. And this is what Jean-Charles and I have been discussing as well, that, the reason why I want Jean-Charles to come in to speak with you is because I wanted him to back you up on your hypothesis of Three-Eye Atlas, which is quite similar. And then Jean-Charles said, why not bring Sebastian Martin? Because he remote viewed and you all have the same take on Three-Eye Atlas. And I thought this will make a very a superb and interesting conversation. So that's why we're here today. But nevertheless, Patty has her take as well. And Sebastian has been communicating with me as well. And he's got new, fresh information too, apart from his remote viewing about the 5 million Draco reptilians in stasis in the pods on the mothership in Three-Eye Atlas and all that. It's so very interesting. And then he showed me a video of a hypnotherapist doing a session talking to the higher self of somebody. And the higher self then said of this person, her hypnotized client was saying that everybody's right. So do not judge, okay? Everyone has their own take and it is all right because it depends on, and Sebastian agrees with me as well. I mean, we agree with each other there. It depends on which level that you have tuned in, whether it's 3D to 4D or 4D to 5D, 5D to 7D. Parallel existence of the consciousness because there's no time, no space. So whichever level you tune in will get a different picture. And Three-Eye Atlas is fantastic in the sense that it gives you all the scenarios, different scenarios. So we can then raise consciousness from whichever level we tune in. I don't know what you think of that, Kerry.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I know that's going around. I know there are a number of people that are trying to say that, oh, you see what level you're on, that kind of thing. But you could say that about everything, in my opinion, on everything, that's like, oh, it's all relative. That's another bland statement that means
Relative.
nothing. So
Yeah.
from my point of view, this is actually a double think, and a misconception, and misunderstanding about what's really going on. I think it's important to realize that you can see all the different dimensions simultaneously. And so if something is here from a certain point of view, unless you are one of them and you see your role as being positive because you think you're running humans, and you're going to give them information on ascension that's all bullshit. I mean, they are basically mind control is a big part of this type of thing. And so be careful. If you want to believe that everything is relative and that makes you happy, go right ahead. But from my point of view, that's not true. Okay. It's not
Right.
something else somewhere else. It is
Yeah.
what it is. And then that particular thing has its dimensional reflections. But when we're talking about normally a lot of these lower level entities don't go beyond 4D. So you're really looking at 4D. After that, they don't really participate so much in the other dimensions. That's my
Right.
understanding.
So we're going to
So
have a good debate afterwards about
yeah,
this. It's
whatever.
fantastic. I always love to hear your perspective because you have a way of putting your perspective in a very intellectual way of reasoning, and it's nice to talk to you, Carrie. So anyway, let's look at Jean-Charles Moyen's perspective now, shall we? Can we, Carrie? Unless you have anything that
Oh
you
no,
want to add
yes, go right
before we
ahead,
get on.
please.
But we will have
You
you
know,
with us anyway for the next session as well, right? Unless
no
you're in a
problem,
hurry to
no
catch
problem.
with another appointment or what. So that's fantastic. Let's go to Jean-Charles Moyen then. Jean-Charles Moyen is a French Canadian and he has lived in Quebec for 20 years, over 20 years. He has over 30 years of experience in visual effects and video editing in Hollywood, Burbank, etc. Like your background, Carrie, as a common background here with you, where he has won several awards for independent productions. A former paratrooper in France, he is also a martial arts expert and trained in international close protection, SWAT, SWAT. He has worked in celebrity and business security and in events. Through his experiences with extraterrestrial contact and his involvement in secret space programs, he has been a speaker at numerous international events. I bet you were together in the gravy train in conferences with you, Carrie and Sebastian. Jean-Charles Moyen claims to have visited multiple ancient space arcs, two of which hold relevance for him in a past life he describes in detail in his new feature-length movie, Starseed Revelations 3, which is officially released on October 23rd, 2025. Of course, there's Starseed Revelations 1, Starseed Revelations 2. I think he produced about 6 or 7 movies right now. This is presenting historical and contemporary evidence supporting his teleportation and past life experiences as an extraterrestrial. So folks, please go to physics website, hover your mouse over Jean-Charles, as I said before, time and again, over the speakers, picture or their names and click, and it takes you to their website. You find all the details about them from there. Okay, so at age 7, he physically teleported inside Mount Fuji, where he saw an ancient space art. He was also teleported inside the volcano Mauna Kea on the big island of Hawaii, where he was taken inside another space ark of Kono, the goddess of Mount Fuji. Jean-Charles also discusses an aborted teleportation experience involving 3I Atlas, where he encountered Draco reptilian energies as well, as you take Harry and Sebastian, which corroborated the recent remote viewing of Sebastian Martin, who describes up to 5 million Draco reptilians sleeping in stasis chambers on 3I Atlas, like cryogenic tanks. So they're not doing anything in stasis until activated. So Dr. Michael Salla added John Vivanco to the list of remote viewers who claim to have seen reptilians inside of 3I Atlas. Given the disparity in explanations for what's inside Three Eye Atlas on multiple perspectives, let us explore together, folks, what may be happening on the craft. So now over to you, over to you, Jean-Charles.
Thank you for this resume. It's not easy to explain my life in a short word because if someone don't know my story, it will be very hard to understand. Thank you, Kerry. I'm very happy to see you and all people here. My story began when I was 4. I was abducted on the beach in the front of my parents in France, and I disappeared during 1 hour. And during this 1 hour, the lifeguard and the people researched me, and they don't find me. And when I came back after 1 hour, I reappear like by magic in the front of my mom and my dad. And nobody knows where I was. A short time later, I explained to my parents I was surrounded by 4 beings of light, and they check my head and they reassure me and say everything is okay, we are friends of you, and don't worry. When I came back to this abduction, positive abduction, I insist because it's very important. It was not a bad experience, it was a good experience. I began to develop some abilities like telekinesis. When I'm crying, everything shut down. I had interaction with electricity device and electricity energy, and I was able to control some something around me like you know pain, seal, or something else moving when I was sad. And I remember an episode with my mom in a supermarket. We were together in a alley, and suddenly I was very tired, and I say to my mom, I'm very tired. And I close my eyes and my hand, and when I close my eyes, I think at this moment I want to recharge myself, and the supermarket shut down instantly. And my mom say, John Charles, is it you? And I say, yes. Go to the light now. And the light came, and there was a guy in the front of us was traumatized, and he listened everything at this moment. And we go to the cashier with my mom, and at this moment there is a cash 1, cash 2, cash 3 with a light to pay. And for me, I'm a kid, so everything is a game. And I was shut down and shut off, shut down, shut on, the lights pulsating, and I was playing with this. At this moment, my mom say, get out the supermarket because we must have a problem. And everything in my life was very strange after my abduction. I jump, and during my 12 years old, in my room, I was the impression that someone was there and make a noise in my room. And one day, I sleeping to my stomach, so I was like paralyzed and I was not able to move. And I decide the next day to slept on my back to was able to see what's happened in front of me. And this is the first one I saw him. He was a shadow in the bottom of my room, and he moved slowly. And I say, I saw you, and he don't move. And after that, he get out the shadow, and it was a tall being with a green skin, red eyes, no hair, and he sat on the bottom of my bed and he told me, hello, my name is Victor. I'm here to protect you. I'm a part of the conglomerate interplanetary. And I was, oh my God, why I can't see you? And he told me, you are not supposed to see me because I'm in a different frequency of yours. But I was special after my abduction, so I was able to detect some, some different frequency around me. And he told me, maybe I had a problem because I'm not supposed to be in contact with you at this moment. So it disappeared in a fairy light in the front of me. And the next day he came back and he said to me, I have the authorization to stay in touch with you because in a few months there is something will happen to you and you must have a answer. And the next year at 13 I had a big strong accident over my head, a very strong solar I don't remember the name in, in English. Um,
Solar flash?
Not solar flash, when you have a sunstroke. Sorry,
Oh,
a sunstroke, and I was hospitalized in emergency in a hospital, and then I was painful, and I say it's like a heartbeat in my head, and they say, oh my God, it's not like a sunstroke, it's something else. So they was afraid, and they do X-ray, and in the X-ray they discover a little metal capsule in my head, like a tic tac. It was an implant. And they decide to put me in a room in observation during a few days. And I remember in the night, I was, dizzy and dehydrated, and I lost consciousness, and I come back, etc. And there is a X-ray doctor came into my room in the night with a military guys. And I was, why a military guy is in my room? I don't understand. So I try to understand what they said about me, but I wasn't able to understand because the military guys spoken German. I was, oh my God, what's happened? And I lost consciousness. Suddenly, I was shaken by someone, and I opened my eyes, and there is in front of me a old guy with a blue eyes and a white hair, a military guys. And he said to me, come on, hurry up, follow me. I don't want to miss the jump. And I say, what? And I'm a kid, huh? I'm 13. So for me, it's an adult. So I think they want to transfer me in another department because they found something very strange in my head. So I follow the guys in a big corridor in a hospital. We arrive in a big elevator, and the doors open, and there was a military guys dressed in black with black glasses, and he was an emblem, a red triangle on the chest. We enter in the elevator, and we go down, and I say to myself, that's not normal. It's so deep for an elevator. And when I began to stress, everything shut down, everything flashing. And the guys put his hand on my shoulder and say, hey, don't worry, everything is okay. We don't want to hurt you. And the light on. We arrive in the basement of the hospital, the doors open, and we were in a big hangar. There is a lot of children and a lot of people, military, and he say to me, the military guys, it's over for me. Go to this way. Strangely, I wasn't afraid. I felt inside of me something very strong to protect me. I arrived in the front of a desk with a woman, and she told me, put your hand in this little box. It was like a photocopy with a light swept over my hand, and it was for recognition my DNA. She gave me a suit a one-piece suit, black, with an emblem, look like a Pegasus, a horse wing. And she told me, go to this way, to this line. We were with a lot of children, and we go to a corridor with a big, like a bubble soap light. It was a portal. We enter inside, and inside I was dizzy, and I felt a lot of tingling in my body, and I lost consciousness 1 second. And when I opened my eyes, I was in another big room with the military guys, and they test our fear. Many children failed, but not me. And we recognize the X-ray doctor with the military guys, and he said to me, come. And when I arrived in the front of these guys, he said, this is the boy I told you. And he told me, go to this room, a shadow room. I enter inside, and I felt something very strange, not afraid, very strange. And in a shadow, get out the shadow, a big mantis. And she looked at me with the big eyes. She was very positive with me. And she put his big paw on my shoulder. And in telepathy, she told me, everything is okay. You have been chosen. And I collapsed. I opened my eyes in my bed in a hospital, and I say, oh my God, what's happened? And I was dizzy, and I lost consciousness again. And I was awake up by a klaxon of the bus. I was in the bus with my bag, and I say, how I was outside in a fraction of a second. That was a missing time. I come back to the summer camp when I was before my accident, and like a kid, I have a friend, so I decide to explain to my little friend what's happened to me. It's not a good idea. They mock me, and they say I'm a monster, I'm a mutant, it was very painful for me. In the night, I decide to get out the chalet and go in the field, a big field near a mountain in France, in the French Alps. And I was sat down on the ground, and I say, I don't want to be here anymore. Come and get me. I don't know why I say this, but it was inside of me. At this moment, I want to leave the earth. And I remember in the sky, there is a stars moving, and the star approached me, and it was a disc, a gold disc. And I was sucked by a light, and I was teleported inside a big spaceship with a different extraterrestrial. And in the middle, there was the beings in my room, Victor. And he told me, welcome aboard the Solaris. The Solaris is the part of the Solar Warden to protect the Earth from the invasion. At this moment, I understand I was in a program with another children to prepare myself for a mission in the future. I was in a classroom with another beings, children beings, aquatic beings, reptilian. Every reptilian was not bad, like a human. There is a good human, there is a good reptilian. When I say reptilian, people, oh my God, reptilian. Draco is a part.
Right.
There is a good reptilian, okay? And for me, I had a friend, reptilian. I had a friend, gray with a spot like leopard.
Jean-Charles,
ants. Yes,
we have to make the story shorter.
yes.
I want you to know that our audience is very aware and very knowledgeable, and they have been studying disclosure information because James Rink used to be with us here, and
Yeah.
for 9 years we know about Solar Warden, we know about SSP, we know
Okay,
about
okay.
yeah. So
Sorry.
because we are
I
running out of
explained the
time. Yeah.
I explained the picture to understand why I felt this for the Atlas. Because in my life, in the SSP program, I had a mission and I was in the front of Draco. So I was able to detect the energy of Draco. Okay? Because if I say I was in the Atlas, people don't know my story, say, okay, what's happened? This is crazy or something else. So sorry, but
That's okay.
I don't have any time, but I jump. I have ability to felt the energy of beings, of people, of something else, like yours, like Kerry, like Sebastian, like we have this sixth sense inside of us. Okay, so when I was young, I was able to teleport myself physically in the different places. And after that, I was able to bilocation, physically bilocation, and I was in the different places at the same moment with a witness about me. So every people spoke about the Atlas, and people say, and you, Jean-Charles, what do you think about Atlas? I say, okay, I will try to connect to Atlas because every people, friend or not friend, spoke about Atlas. I don't have an ID at this moment. That's very important to clarify, okay? Because some people say, if you see something, it is a reflection of what you are, what you think, and no, not for me. For me, I try to connect with the Atlas, and I remember at this night, I tried to bylock inside the Atlas. First of all, I was in front, sorry, I was in front of like a rock, but when I decide to investigate more, it was like an hologram, and I discovered it was a spaceship, okay? And when I arrived in a front, instantly I was ejected, like a bond, bones. And I say, what's? And at this moment, precise this moment, I felt a viper energy. You know what? Because I was in front of Draco in my life, but when I was kid, I was in a shop when they sell a snake or a spider or something else. And I remember in front of Viper, she was like this in a mirror, and she looked at me. Did you look a snake in the eyes in your life? You remember it's cold. It's something very strange because you see the slide and it's like this. And I remember the sensation, and it was the same sensation of a Draco reptilian in front of me. And I keep this inside of me, and I spoke to my wife, Melanie, and she told me, oh, no, don't share this because that's not a good idea because some people will be afraid. So I decided to keep this in me. And I discovered a guy named Sebastian Martin. And I discovered it was a French guy, a Canadian, and I don't know him. Okay. And I saw after that, I saw the show of Gaia, and he explained he is a remote viewer, very professional remote viewer. And you know what? He explained there is a 5 million of Draco reptilian in stasis inside. So I said, oh my God, this is the same sensation. And I talked to him and he explained the vision and the feeling of Kerry and John Vivenco and a lot of people, but they are afraid to speak about this because it's different from the other people say. And I felt inside of me someone play with a different timeline. And I'm sure about it. Kerry is sure what they say. And I'm like her. I'm sure someone play with a timeline because the Fern in the Switzerland, they play to God. They open a portal. And I know someone in a few years working in the CERN. And he lost his father in a life here. I was with him for the ceremony. And I talked to him and I say, do you know the story of the CERN open a portal, some strange creature get out, like a Stranger Things the series, and he can say, what's happened? You're crazy. And he say to me, I swear, how do you know that? So he confirmed that something happened in the CERN, and there is a storm lightning, very like a purple, lightning. They cut the electricity in over the city, and there is something happen in the CERN. And Sebastian talked about the CERN. He had a contact with a scientist inside, and after he talked to her, she disappeared.
Yeah.
She disappeared. We don't know where she is now.
Okay.
So I
Shut her.
think there is, some people want to say Atlas is good, Atlas, but no one want to go to this way that maybe it's not good. To don't be afraid, people. We know we are good human and a bad human, but if there is bad extraterrestrial, don't forget the difference with us is they had the technology. They can go to the past. They can change timeline. They have time travel. They have 100% of abilities open, telekinesis, telepathy, everything. They can shift. They can change the frequency. They can trick everything. And they can go to the past and you don't know what's happened because it's a fraction of a second, because the time in space is relative. So I think there is something is preparing right from in front of us. But, I was very upset and annoyed to explain what I think. But when Sebastian shares this remote viewing and talked to me about Carrie, I was, okay, I must to talk. And when my friend, Dr. Michael Sala, a good friend, interviewed me for my new movie, and he said to me, do you have a news about Atlas, Jean-Charles? And I say, oh, what's a sensitive subject, my friend? I have something, but I don't know if you like it because it's different. No, go away. I'm interested by everything, every people. I love you, so go. And I say, okay. And I explain what I felt. And curiously, people love this interview because I'm say something different from, I don't say I'm right, okay? That's important. Like Carrie say, this is my impression, this is my information, I believe on that, I respect that, and I believe to me too. But that's curious that me, Carrie, Sebastian, John Vivenco, we are a few people have the same thing. And once again, very important, my friend, when I decide to go to the Atlas, I don't have any idea. I'm not, prepared. Maybe it's a reptilian, maybe it's a Lyran, maybe it's a, no, okay. Every people say, Jean-Charles, what do you think about the Atlas? And I say, okay, I will connect to try. And I was surprised I discovered this. And, first of all, I don't want to disclose this. But when I know that another people, I don't know these people, say the same thing, I say, okay, I must disclose this too. But once again, I hope it's not this. I hope for the future of the humanity, the love is the key, etc. And I pray for, I'm wrong, but I prefer to say I'm not okay with some people. And if you love this or not, that's your choice.
Yeah, well said. Thank you, Jean-Charles. Thank you so much for your take on this. And I really applaud your bravery coming forward to disclose this information, whether people like it or not. There has been so many differing takes on Three-Eye Atlas. Oh, I believe Sebastian is here because I could see his iPhone here. Sebastian, can
I'm
you
here,
speak to
yes.
us?
Welcome,
Oh, there you
everyone.
go. Hey, welcome.
I'm sorry
Welcome
about the
back. How is
delay.
your daughter? How is your
Yes,
daughter?
it's my stepdaughter. She broke her arm in the at school, and I basically had to be there and bring her to the emergency. So she basically dislocated her arm and fractured the wrist at the same time. So it was they had to put
Oh,
on the and then basically put the bone in place. And she has a cast now for 8 weeks,
oh,
between
oh.
6 and 8 weeks. But
Oh,
she should be fine. She's a
yeah,
bit in a shock, but she's all
she's
right.
young, yeah, and the
Yeah,
human
she's
body is
12.
a miracle.
She's
It will
she's very
just
young.
repair
She's
itself.
turning
Yeah.
12.
Oh, we're so
Mhm.
glad you're back
Yeah,
here.
so
So
I do
you
apologize. Thank
oh
you.
no,
I
not to
apologize. I missed the
worry.
beginning, so I haven't quite followed the discussions. I only caught up with what Jean-Charles was saying
Uh,
about his story, but
I
I
had to
missed
check.
everything else beforehand.
I had to change the format a bit because of your absence. So we are going easy. Okay. So we have 2 sessions and it's quite a long time. And
Mm.
Carrie's here. So Carrie had her
Hi,
take
Kerry.
and she has made her statement on her beliefs and very firmly
Yes.
so. And that's what we love you, Carrie, because you really hang on tightly and stand steadfastly on the ground, stating your claims. You are so brave, and so Sean Charles has been supporting her take as well. And here you are. And we had actually, if you're not going to turn up because it's a serious accident, and we understand that you had to attend to that. So I actually invited uh, Patty Brassard, Patty L. Brassard. I don't know if you are
Okay.
familiar with Patty. She's our planetary guardian, and she's a Mi'kmaq elder, and she's
Okay.
also the holder of the Ring of Midas. So here
Okay.
we are. So we are all a great Luminary speakers forum here together, having
Yes.
a great conversation about Three Eye Atlas.
Hmm.
And so I was prepared to talk about um, Patty, to introduce her by reading her
Right.
bio, because you step in now. So I'm going to do the honors
By all
of
means, by all means.
going back to the original plan. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm going to introduce you, and then you are going to, because time is running short, so it's almost running to about 2 hours now, and our recording can't take more than 2 hours. Otherwise, it wouldn't get mirrored on Odyssey. Odyssey can only take less than 2 hours. So I have to do a quick one, and then we continue to the next session. Okay, Sebastian, and thank you
So
so
how
much,
much time do
Jean-Charles.
I have, Crystal? How much
How
time
much
do
time do you have?
I have?
Oh, we have another 1.5 hours for the next session. Carrie, you can stay, right? Yeah, and so does Sean Charles. So what about you,
Okay.
Sebastian? Do you have to run back to the hospital?
No, I'm fine.
You're
My
fine.
partner can go back, so
Uh-huh.
it's all under control. But
Wonderful. Wonderful.
yeah, I'm free for the next 3 hours.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. So, okay, without much ado, I'm going to jump on to introducing Sebastian Martin. Sebastian Martin is a Canadian serial entrepreneur. Carrie, Patty, I'll come back to you in the next session, okay? So then we can have a very good conversation from there. I'll do this very quickly, and then we'll stop the recording, and then we have like 3 minutes party break, run the toilet, whatever. And then we start again for the second session to continue, okay? Sebastian Martin is a Canadian serial entrepreneur, originally from France, like Jean Charles, who has spent nearly, it's so wonderful to see that two divine soul family brothers get together this way just because of Three Eye Atlas. It's wonderful. So anyway, Sebastian has spent nearly 2 decades building international health food brands with a global presence spanning the US, Canada, the UK, and New Zealand. Yeah, you used to spend about 20 years here, didn't you, Sebastian, in the UK, in London?
Yes,
Right.
I only
So in
spent
November
three years in the UK, but yeah.
Oh, 3 years. I thought 20 years, sorry.
Yes.
Beg your pardon. So in November 2011, Sebastian experienced a life-altering close encounter of the fifth kind, a direct conscious interaction with a stellar being from a fifth dimensional reality. And this profound event marked the beginning of ongoing communications with what he now recognizes as his star family. Since then, Sebastian has received frequent and potent energetic downloads, each one carrying transformative insights aimed at elevating human consciousness. Now, this extraordinary awakening triggered a full Kundalini activation, significantly enhancing his innate abilities, including advanced remote viewing. So, folks, I have to read the bio of each and every speaker so you can understand where they're coming from and pay attention to their intellectual disclosure and hypothesis or whatever, back with whatever facts they bring, because it's very important for us. Knowledge is power, folks. So that's why every month, once a month, we bring some of the best speakers in the world. And here they are here lined up today. So in recent years, to continue, in recent years, Sebastian has reported encounters with 11th dimensional beings, further reinforcing his understanding of parallel timelines and cosmic purpose. His psychic development has continued to accelerate, leading him to elaborate with law enforcement and government agencies through remote viewing. His insights have touched on subjects ranging from secret space program and Stargate technologies to broader extraterrestrial agenda. Today, Sebastian stands at the intersection of business and the metaphysical, channeling his experiences into service for global awakening. His work has been featured on Gaia TV, and he has been a guest on many radio shows internationally. He's launching, folks, if you want to learn from Sebastian, he has a series of workshops coming up. He's launching his workshop starting on 8th of November, a 3-part seminar, 1 to 4 hour online seminar, November the 8th, November the 15th, and November the 22nd. Sorry, Sebastian.
That's correct.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, physics website, and hover your mouse over his name, click on it, it takes you to his website. You can see everything about what he does and how he's going to help you awaken with the third eye activation and all that. And how he's going to talk about Three Eye Atlas as well, his remote viewing. So it's fascinating. And as in any meetings and forum discussion, time is of the essence, so we got much on. So we've got about 10 minutes, Sebastian, over to you, and then you got all the time in the world for the next session. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Well, first of all, I would like to speak generally about the people present, because Carrie and I met when she gave me the opportunity.
Oh, you froze. Can you repeat? Uh,
11, and after that it was quite, the roller coaster ride. But I've been sheltered because I was.
Sebastian, I must interject here because your connection is all
all of these downloads and these beings. Yes.
Your connection
I'm sorry.
is quite bad. Or maybe it's mine. I want to ask you, France, is it mine? Are you hearing Sebastian, or is it choppy as well?
Here also.
It's not yours.
Yeah, so it's not mine. Yeah, thank you, Patty. Patty, I'll come back to you in the next session. Sorry.
My connection is bad?
Yeah, connection is really bad. Could you get to a better place where you can get a better flow of internet connection? And then I can adjourn this session to the next session. Wonderful.
Yes.
So folks, hang on here, don't go away. So we're going to have a short little break, and then we'll continue in the next session. Okay, shall we? When all the Illumin speakers, our celebrity speakers, will come back together and speak in a conversation. We are going to go easy and well, you know, we're going to have a fun conversation. Okay. So shall we adjourn now, Fresh? Do you think it's
Yes.
time?
Yeah, I think we better, and that'll get the recording good. So thank you guys. We'll hold in
Yeah.
there. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And I will say that this first session is now adjourned to the second session. And Pontus and Henrik, we can stop recording right now. Thank you.